Well, all of us know we should get a good night's sleep. It's not just because your body needs rest. Your mind also requires time to shut down and, of course, recharge. We're joined in studio by Kamala Glenn Taylor, the Director of Clinical Services at Brentwood Hospital. And today we look at mental health and sleep. Kamala, nice to meet you. Welcome in.
I'm so happy to be here.
Let's talk a little bit about sleep and why it's so important for your mental health. I've always joked about sleep. It's the most overrated thing unless you don't have any.
Absolutely.
And you need it. Your body needs it so bad. Why is that?
Well, first of all, when you think about what's happening to our bodies during that process of sleep, there's restorative practices that are going on. There's regeneration of cells, there is reconsolidation of memories, there is just that ability for your body to get that reset. So we need sleep absolutely for our bodies to be able to function in the best way.
If you could explain how not having enough sleep affects your mental health as well, and that really is a key connection.
Yeah, well, let's start off low tier. If I don't get enough sleep, when I wake up in the next morning, I am more than likely going to be a little bit irritable. Let's just start there. So we know that not having enough sleep impacts our mood primarily, but we also know that sleep deprivation can result in increased incident of suicidality. It can result in increased depression, anxiety. Then those are just some of the ways that it impacts mental health.
Now, I've always wondered, can you get too much sleep? Is that possible? Will that affect you in a negative way too? Because everybody needs a certain amount of sleep. Some people don't need as much as others. I personally need about 7 to 8 hours consecutive, but some don't need as much. So can you get too much sleep?
It actually is possible to get too much sleep. So if you're a person that notices that you're getting maybe around 9 to 10 hours of sleep per night, that could be something that's indicative of maybe there is some amount, there's a depressive disorder going on, there's a mental health disorder that's brewing, or it could be linked to something that's medically going on. Is there sleep apnea? Is there narcolepsy? Or is it linked to something like medication changes that you've made? So having too much sleep is definitely something that you want to make sure that you're addressing to ensure that for you, it's what's appropriate.
Now, what are some good habits to keep on to make sure you have the consistent sleep that you specifically need to run full octane every day?
So I'm gonna say something that most people are gonna not love. One, we've gotta stay really consistent. So the same way that I don't associate steak as a lovely meal when I'm a baby, I learned that over a process of conditioning, essentially. My body works well when I'm consistent. So I have the same kind of bedtime every night, even the weekends. I also want to make sure that things like the environment are conducive to sleep. Like, is the room that I'm in, is there a lot of stimulation in the environment? Is the TV on? Is the computer on? What am I doing in that environment? I should be utilizing, don't kill me all, I should be utilizing my bed for sleep and intimacy only. If I'm not doing that, I don't get to associate that space with rest. I associate it with other things. And so essentially my mind gets to this place where it's like, oh, we don't do sleep here. We do everything else here. And so some of us will find ourselves getting really activated when we get to bed because we're so used to doing other things. And so the environment, the consistency of the routine, things like wind down activities. So maybe before I start going to bed, I'm picking up a book that's not like too stimulating, but something that's kind of soothing. Maybe I do some deep breathing practices, but I find a wind down routine that I stick to consistently that kind of signals to my brain it's time to get sleep. The other thing that we've got to learn to avoid in terms of good sleep practices is the idea of what kind of stimulants do I take into my body. So stimulants can be, am I drinking lots of coffee at night? That might not be the best way to get some sleep. Am I doing a lot of exercise right before bedtime? Also might not be the best way for us to get sleep. And so you try to channel your activities and any kind of stimulation earlier in the day, so when you get to bedtime, we know that our body can slide into that.
It seems like now we have so many distractions too. The technology accessibility we have too is what keeps people up longer, whereas back in the day before we had all that, you knew once the sun went down, you got dinner, you relax a little bit, and you go to bed. How does that play a part in making it more difficult for people in 2025 to get consistent good sleep?
It absolutely does get in the way, and for us what that means that we have to be intentional about it. We have to make definitive steps. We have to decide, you know what? Sleep is important for me because it's going to help my mental health, it's going to help my physical health, it's going to help my overall health. And so if those are things that are important to me, I've got to make decisions that allow me to do so effectively.
Anything else you'd like to add about getting good sleep and how it affects your mental health on a daily basis?
I just want to tell people, listen, don't sleep on sleep. Get it. You have to get it. And not only sleep, but be intentional about restful practices. Maybe I'm working towards getting better sleep, but in the meantime, I can also find ways throughout my day to take a pause, to reset, to allow my body and my mind to kind of catch up with the rest of my day.
Hey, thanks so much, Kamala, for that tips on sleeping and how it affects your mental health. Thanks so much.
Pleasure being here.